Many of us gardeners have birch trees in our outdoor space. In fact, I have 2 rows of them on either side of my drive. And I just love when they begin to leaf up in May. I just feel it announces the beginning of summer. Those light green leaves, as they swirl and flutter in the breeze, they just bring a great sense of gaiety to the garden. But birch trees aren't just for summer, and many have bought them because of their glowing white trunks, which look amazing in the winter garden, kind of a beacon of light and brightness out there at a time when many other things are dormant and asleep. However, you may find if you have a birch tree in your garden for a while that it's no longer as glowing white as it was when you got it first. And today I'm here to tell you how to restore your birch bark so it's as white and fresh and gorgeous as it was when you first bought it. I'm Rachel from Douentza Garden in Ireland, and you're very welcome to this video all about birch bark and getting it bright and shiny and white again. Okay, so here are the tools for my job, and just the first thing you need to note is that the birch tree, as it expands, as it grows, the bark on the outside, or the skin really, the outer skin of the bark, will begin to peel off. And if you look at the tree, you can see that there are a lot of bits kind of hanging off. And that happens naturally. I think about once a year it will rejuvenate and replenish its outer skin. However, mosses and dirt can build up on that skin. So the first thing we're going to do today is to just kind of peel off what naturally wants to come off on the birch tree. And there can be a lot of it. I don't have so much because, I've got to tell you this, my grandson absolutely loves peeling the bark off my birch trees, and he comes along and he does it. If you look carefully at the ground, you'll see little bits of white bark in there. He's just 2 and this is his favourite job, but he can only reach a certain height. So this is a process that does no harm to the tree. Now, you may worry as you take the bark off that the underskin seems yellowish, whereas it's white on the outside. Don't worry about that. The yellowish underskin will turn white in a very short time. Now, you can actually spend a long time peeling off this bark, but it's not really necessary, because when you start to clean the bark itself, it will come off. What's loose is going to come off. So for that process, we have here a bucket with just a little bit of washing up liquid in it. You don't need to put a lot in there, just a squirt, and a hard cloth, and just to start cleaning the tree. When I did this the very first time, I thought, oh no, I need to use a soft cloth on this birch, but actually you don't need to. This kind of rougher cloth is fine. It doesn't damage the bark at all. Now, this is the job I prefer to do in summer. And there's a very simple reason for that. And the very simple reason is you're going to get wet. And if it's winter, and winter is when you notice this job needs to be done and you go out to do it, but oh, it's so cold, and that water's going to run up your sleeve into your arm and you're just going to feel like, well, like you're coming down with a cold or something by the time you finish, especially when you get to do the final bit with the hose, which we'll get to in just a moment. So it's a great job to do in summer, and then, you know, you don't have to think about it in winter. Of course, there's only so high you can go, and you mightn't think that's a big deal because the tree has lots of leaves up there. But in winter, of course, it won't have leaves, and you will see those branches up high, and you'll see if they're green and dirty. So we're going to deal with that in just a minute. I'm going to show you how. Whoa! Oh, I'm so wet right now. You can imagine if you're doing this in winter, you get a whole lot wetter. Well, you mightn't think they look very shiny yet, but you have to remember that all the gunk is still on the outside of the bark. So what I'm going to do now is to hose it down. Get off all of the loose dirt. And now we're going to go a bit higher, and just to let you know that the same principle applies to the bark up high as down low. It will shed in time, and you can see that it's already peeling. So I'm going to help that process along. So with the nozzle of the hose, I'm just going to turn it so that it's like a steady stream and has the most force possible. And now I'm just going to try and help that process along. Help along that process of splitting the bark, the outer layer of the bark, and helping it to fall down. Of course, there's only so much you can do up there, up high, where you can't actually touch it with your hand. Because standing on a ladder to do that, well, it's just a step too far for me. So one very soggy and one very dirty gardener later, but hey, two very clean birches later. Now, when you finish the job, they may look a little, how do I say this, raw at first. The yellowness may seem a bit odd to you, but that like straightens itself out and whitens up in a very short period of time. And over the other side of the garden, I cleaned those birch trees a few months ago, and look how gorgeous they look now, and have been looking for the last few months. So that brings me to the end of this video on cleaning birch trees to make them nice and shiny and sparkly and new and ornamental for your garden. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, then perhaps you'll consider subscribing to the channel. Thank you as always for watching, and I will see you on the next video. Bye!